Hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck at Sheraton Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. So a couple of months ago we were doing some videos on our water system and what troubles we were having. So today we're going to kind of button that up. Hang out with us, let's show you what we done, how we got this thing put together. If you're off grid, this could potentially be a system that might work for you. But anyway, hang out with us and let's talk a little bit about our most precious resource, water. Okay, so here's where it all began, and if you've not seen the video, I'll post links down below so you can go back and kind of catch up. But we've had this system installed now probably for a month and a half, 2 months, I'm not exactly sure. And we've just been letting it settle just to see what it's going to do before we button everything up. And this morning we started that process and we found one problem. There was a kink in the line where there had been some trash that had washed down. I'll show you that in a minute. Where there was some trash had been washed down from all this torrential rain that we've had that had kinked the line, and we fixed that and everything is working flawlessly. I mean, it's doing exactly what we want it to do. So real quick, this is the spring itself. So we've got this spring dam. It's a plastic flexible dam. We put in there, we packed clay around the bottom on the inside and the outside, filled it full of gravel. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in, we'll put a piece of plastic over this and we'll fill this up with dirt, and eventually this will be all that's sticking up that you see. And it's got a red top on there for dropping chlorine tabs or putting some Clorox in there to shock the system if we ever had a problem with it. Water comes out along the bottom tube down here, this one here. Water comes out there, goes down to the barrel. We'll go down and show you the barrel. And then this top line right here, this is that's just an overflow. So if the spring box fills up or that spring head fills up enough, water will just run out, and it's going to run out here in the creek. So got all kinds of helpers up here. Bottom line, that's this line right here. This is the line that runs down to our barrel, and like I said, I'll show you that in a minute. We're using that basically as a sediment catch. Now the problem that we were running into previously, we had the line running over here on this side, which is where this branch was running. In this area here, we had too much elevation to keep the water flowing. So what we were doing is we were getting a backup into the spring. And what happens when this spring gets backed up and we don't have the water flowing out of it, this thing will leak around the edges. So if this thing's not flowing properly, we'll get water coming out right there. So we can tell real quick if the spring is backed up just simply by walking up here and looking. And if we've got water coming out of that side, we know we've got a we got the line stopped up somewhere. So again, we didn't have enough drop to keep the water going downhill. There wasn't enough hydrostatic pressure to push it. So we had our friend Matt come in with a mini excavator and we dug a trench. We've had a lot of rain. I think there was 1 week we had about 4 inches of rain in a week. And what's happened was we had enough water coming down through here, we have rerouted the branch. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back in, we're going to fill this trench back in with the dirt, and we're going to try to get the branch rerouted back along over the side here. That will have our primary water line underground going down to our catchment barrel. So I'm gonna walk around the edge over here. This, like I said, this is where the branch used to go, and whenever we had this rain, we've rerouted it. We'll fill that in, it'll fix itself. So again, here's our line, it's coming down. Once we get to here, once we get to this piece of rock, once we get to here, it literally is downhill then. This is fairly flat. There's a little bit, and it's impossible to tell on camera, I know. This does have a little bit of slope to it, but it's almost flat. But from this point down, we are it's downhill. So this works out really nice. And so we had, during all that rain, we had a bunch of leaves and sticks. I've cleaned a lot of it out. Come in, and it caused their primary line right here that's going down to their catchment barrel to kink. And so we weren't hardly getting any water in that at all. We opened it up and we saw it. We walked up to the spring head, and like I said, there was water just pouring out around that edge. Came back, found this. We cut the kink out, connected it with just some pipe clamps or some hose clamps and a male to male 3/4 inch barbed, and put that together. Fixed it, no problem. Now we're getting plenty of water going down the catchment barrel. But this is the mess. And it's, you know, this system, we're going to leave, some of this system's going to be above ground. It's going to stay above ground. We got water flow. I don't think we're going to have a freeze problem this winter unless we get down just bitter cold for an extended period of time, because this is continuous flow. So we should be fine. The only drawback to this system is we are going to have to provide some ongoing maintenance to it. Come back, make sure the line's clean. We don't have anything that's broken the line. We don't have anything that's caused a kink in the line. So there'll be a little bit of maintenance to it, but that's fine. This is the catchment barrel, and we're using this as a sediment catch. And we just had this thing sitting kind of down in a hole for a while now. We've just been testing this system, and what's happened was we had a couple of really bad rains. I mean, a couple of inches within, you know, an hour and a half. That had tipped this thing over. And so what we're doing now, we've done got one load. We'll show you here. We're gonna go get another load of dirt, and we're gonna fill in around this thing and kind of solidify it, and make sure that it's not gonna tip over. When it tips over, what happens is it gets the inlet and the outlet, and we've actually got the outlet buried right now. It gets the inlet and the outlet off balance, and we wasn't getting enough water filling up fast enough to flow through the outlet. And then this top line coming off here, this is just an overflow. So if the barrel were to fill up, it's not going to run out of the barrel. It'll just run into that overflow right there. I'm going to take this lid off. It'll run into that overflow right there. And then we got it lined up. It's going over here out in the creek. And so down inside, so on this side over here, where you see the bubbling, this is the water coming from the spring. Lower down here in the corner, it's kind of under the water. I don't know if you can tell on camera or not. That's the outlet going down the reservoir box, and then this is the overflow. So that's how this piece of it works. And like I said, we're going to finish filling in around this thing, get it solidified so that it's not tipping over, and then take that thing back off real quick, Jaden. And so there's enough distance between the inlet and the outlet so that if we were to get sediment, it just fills in at the bottom. It just comes in and settles down. And what we can do later on, if this thing gets full enough, which should take a long time for it to get full enough, because I can still see the bottom, there's a little bit of sediment in there. If this thing gets full enough, we can just take a shop vac or something and stick it down in there and suck all the dirt out and just clean it out. Won't be a big deal or a problem at all. So we're gonna get some more dirt, fill this thing the rest of the way in, and get it set up. I think we're in good shape on this. So real quick, while JW goes and gets another load of dirt, I want to give a shout out to Courtney and Brandon Ray. They're the Ray family, and they're in the United States Navy, stationed in, I'm going to butcher this all to pieces, Yokosuka, Japan. And they say that their family gets together whenever we put out a video, gets together on the couch with popcorn. They said they kid around that nobody cheats on each other and watches the video until everybody can kind of see it. And that's really appreciate the email. They asked if we'd do some videos on just some general maintenance stuff here on the farm. So JW and I have talked about that this morning. I think that absolutely is something that we can work on doing. But anyway, real quick, we've not asked this in a while. Leave me a comment down below where you're from. So we got folks watching in Japan, and I get comments from folks in different places. But, you know, if you're local here in North Carolina, or if you're somewhere in Australia, Japan, wherever the case may be, leave me a comment down below. Where are you from? Are you farming? Are you interested in farming? And is there any kind of video content? Gosh almighty. Is there any kind of video content that we could do for you? So the request line is open, as Casey Kasem used to say. But anyway, Brandon and Courtney Ray, thank y'all for the email. Really appreciate it. So the major advantage to one of these systems is this is not dependent on electricity. Now, in the reservoir box down below, and we'll show you that in a minute, we do have a pressure tank and a pump that feeds the house. So we do have pressurized water to the house. But worst case scenario, if we were to lose power, you know, some kind of cataclysmic event, or, you know, power goes out for an extended period of time, we can go down, we can bypass that system, and we can keep water flowing to the house. It won't be pressurized. It'll be, you know, it'll be a slow flow, but we'll have running water. and that's all we need. So, you know, these systems, they're a bit archaic, but they're time tested and proven, and they work great. And I'll tell y'all, this is some of the best tasting water that you'll ever drink. This is what we drink. This is what goes to our house. This is what we wash clothes with. This is what we wash dishes with. This is what we cook with. This is what we bathe with. This is what we drink. And we actually use this spring to water groups of the animals, depending on where they're out on the farm. So if we've got, you know, if we've got some cows that's on this field back here, we'll water them off of this spring, and there's enough water coming out of this thing now to take care of all that. So let's walk down and look at the reservoir box, and we'll look at that pump station and show you how that works. And so this is the final step along the way. This is a reservoir box. I'm not sure, it's about 750 or 1,000 gallons. I'm not exactly sure what the capacity on this thing is, but that line that's coming from the catchment barrel that we just showed where we're catching sediment, that 1-inch line comes out and comes down to here, and it actually comes into this reservoir box underground right there. And so if we take this lid off, we can see how much water is in that thing. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but that thing is full. I mean, stopper full right now. It is so full that there's an overflow that comes out of the top of this thing over here. There's an overflow that comes out, and it runs down here to a drinking trough. And let me show you the water that's coming out of this thing right now. And this is the overflow. So this is the water that's coming down the line that reservoir can't contain. This is just extra. It is what it is. It's overflow. I've measured this, and this is about 2 gallons a minute. So if you think about that reservoir box, let's say it's 1,000 gallons. All right, so that's 2 gallons a minute. That would take 500 minutes. If it were empty, 500 minutes to fill that from dead empty, which is a little over 8 hours. So we're running that thing full every 8 hours. That's amazing. That's plenty of water. That's all the water we need. Barring any kind of major catastrophe, a cut line or a problem somewhere, that's all the water that we would need for our personal use and to water a large group of animals on. We're probably gonna need to bring some more dirt in here eventually and slope all of this back towards the branch over there so that we don't get, you know, the problem that we ran into up there with the trench and the creek or the branch washing out over here and rerouting itself. But that's pretty established over there. It should be okay. You know, we've got some more rain coming this week, so I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I think this looks a whole lot better. That barrel, we're not gonna run into the problem that thing getting tilted over anymore. We got it sloped down from the top. So need to sow some grass in here, get this looking a little nicer. But water problem, I think we're about to get that solved. All right, so this is the trench. My battery on my other camera died, so I had to revert to the phone. So this is the trench, and me and JW took the tractor, the New Holland, and pushed a lot of the dirt back up. We were just talking about it. It's amazing how you dig a hole, even if you put like a post or something in it, you still never have enough dirt to go back in the hole as what you took out of the hole. It doesn't make any sense. But we pushed as much dirt as we could back over here. This thing is so big and heavy, it's just hard to get real close. I don't feel comfortable getting too close into this trench to push the dirt back. And there's some more dirt over there, ain't there, JW? A little bit.
Yeah,
but you can't reach it. But we got a lot of the dirt pushed back in, and we were just looking here. We've got the creek, the branch is rerouting itself back to where it was. I don't know if you can see it right there or not, but yeah. So the branch is rerouting itself back where it was. So we're getting this repaired. We still got to fix the spring up there, put our plastic over it, put some dirt over it. That's no big deal. We'll get to that. But yeah. Oh, sorry, my finger's in the way. But yeah, that really helped here. Okay, so this is what our final trench fill-in ended up looking like. We got it filled in nice, and we did get the we got the water diverted around the back to where the branch was running, back over through here and back down around. So ended up, JW and I took the New Holland and the Coyote and pushed all this dirt in. We actually brought in about 4 or 5 big scoops on the New Holland to fill some of this in. We're going to let this settle, and then we'll come back, add more dirt if we need to, do a final grade on it, and sow some grass seed, put some hay on it to keep from washing again. But turned out pretty nice. Okay, so once we got the trench fill back in, we got our barrel set up. I came back and recalculated the water on my overflow. I'm getting 2.3 gallons a minute coming out of that overflow, which means that there's at least 2.3, well there is, I mean it's 2.3 gallons a minute. 2.3 gallons a minute coming out of that spring into the barrel, into the reservoir box, and that's the excess. I wish there was some way that I could capture that excess. Sandra and Jamie were kind of joking with me the other day, saying, you know, if you called all the water that was overflowing, you'd have Lake Lewis down here. And that would be nice to be able to capture all that, but we just know, you know, we can't. But it's really nice that, you know, we've not had any rain here now. We've not had any significant rain in a couple of weeks, and we're still getting 2.3 gallons a minute coming out of that overflow. So we've got plenty of water, and that's very comforting. And we've gone, you know, for almost a year now. We've been on this property almost a year. And initially, whenever we were measuring coming into that reservoir box, we were getting a gallon every 6 minutes. So we have really improved the water flow. And if you hadn't seen the other video, like I said, I'm going to post a link in the description down below on that. The problem that we found with this spring was that line that was coming out of the spring back down to the reservoir box was about 3/4 of the way full of sediment. And you know, that's just what you're going to get with a natural system like this that's not being filtered or doesn't have sediment trap or anything like that. So hopefully, I don't know how long that system's been in, but hopefully this will last us for you know, the remainder of our lives, or at least the remainder of the time that we're on this property. So, but anyway, got our water system kind of buttoned up now. Feel much better about it. Still got to do a little work on that spring head, but that's, you know, that's going to be an hour's worth of work, and we'll have that buttoned up and finished and done. So we got good water. Thank the Lord. That's all I can say. I think that's going to do it. Like we say, please keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.